talk about some of our celebrity guests that we had on, and our experiences with them, really. So we had some very interesting experiences with a few of them. So I think I want to start on like my personal top favourite band that we had on was Fozzy. If you don't know who Fozzy are, then they are the band of Chris Jericho, the wrestler. And if you watch wrestling, AEW, that's his entrance track is Judas by Fozzy. But they're, I think we managed to interview Fozzy at the start of their rise, really. So at the time, I think they were just known as Chris Jericho's band, and they weren't really like kind of, known too well. And they came over to Manchester and played at, was it the Academy? No, it wasn't, was it? It was the
place that burned down.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called.
I can't remember what it was called either. It was like you kind of went down some stairs, didn't you? In the northern quarter. Oh, it's a shame I can't remember the name. I'll find it and I'll post it. But it was a great little venue as well. But yeah, so I think they were my favourite band, and they came back a couple of times. Not just because I'm a big Chris Jericho fan, which I am, but because, again, they were another band that kind of understood what we were doing and why we were doing it. So there were no egos about them either, because, they're an international band. They've come on over. Chris Jericho is one of the biggest wrestlers in the world, and he was like the most polite, most down-to-earth person, I think, that like one of that I've interviewed as well. So I just think genuinely they were like my favourite. They were like my number one.
I would have liked to have got them actually to perform a set. And I think we would have thought about it at the time. We could have just filmed the sound check, do you know what I mean? And I think that's probably what we should have done.
Yeah.
I think we were trying to coax them to come to the other studio that we were at the time, because I think that would probably affect our egos more than anything else, wouldn't it? Because it's like, oh, well, you actually hear rather than we just shoot in. But we I suppose we should have suggested that, and got it, and we didn't.
But who knows, in the future, maybe they'll come back, you never know. But I think as well, as a positive out of that, getting to actually know the band members, as opposed to it just being, again, Chris Jericho's band that people know, is actually getting to speak to, so Rich Ward, we knew from Stuck Mojo. Never spoken to him though, and again, one of like the nicest guys that you could come across in the industry. Absolutely, totally professional, knows his stuff. Billy Gray doing his hair while we were waiting to set up the interview and everything.
I think everybody did the hair before they come on to that interview.
Yeah, but like just while we were sat there.
There was hair dryers going off.
Well, they're a rock band, it's all about hair. And Frank was awesome as well. And like Rich's wife they got married in England. And so it was just good to have conversation points and things like that. But yeah, so in terms of all the celebrities, I think they were my number one. And we managed to interview them, and then when they came back, we did an individual interview with Chris. Managed to see the sound check and everything like that, and just catch up with them. And they're just a great bunch of guys, really.
Yeah.
What about you? Who was your number one celebrity guest that we had on?
I don't know, because I looked at it. The celeb stuff obviously got some more recognition, which was cool. I think for me, I enjoyed being able to set up the Anna Free thing.
Okay.
So we recorded Anna Free, didn't we, in a hotel in town. And I think that was cool because at the time she was really big on YouTube.
Yeah, so she was like one of the early kind of influencers on YouTube, wasn't she? So she was like kind of the one of the people that broke through on YouTube as a guitarist and a singer.
And I was buzzing to get that because I just thought, well, and it wasn't even the case. It was like, well, that's community based.
Yeah.
And so I think at the time I was toying around with the idea of, well, we're just not getting very far with with certain bands, or like just say, let's just say for example, we film 6 bands. Out of them 6 bands, maybe 2 get it and help push it. And for me, it was a little bit like, let's find some people who actually understand the stuff a bit more. And so, like, Anna Free was one of them. And like, I just didn't think that would happen because it was such a remote chance that they'd be in Manchester at that time. And that happened. So I definitely dug that. I Goldie Looking Chain were a riot.
Oh my gosh, yes, they were hilarious. Just go back to Anna Free for a minute. Fun fact, she's got a weird little finger.
I don't think she does that much anymore. What?
Weird little finger. Weird little finger. Ask her, if you ever see Anna Free, ask her about weird little finger.
Chances of bumping into her on Manchester High Street pretty solid 0. I don't think she does that much anymore in terms of she does like covers and stuff.
Yeah,
she's got more. She's got more into sort of social vlogging and that type of thing, and then doing sort of music occasionally and stuff. So, but yeah, that was cool.
A good thing that came out of that was her manager as well, Brandon.
Yeah.
Was it Brandon?
Blake.
Brandon Blake.
Yeah. You're thinking Brandon. Oh man.
He was the rapper, right?
Yeah. Blake Brands.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I knew I had a
Shout out to Blake.
Told you, my memory's bad.
No, you were thinking of Brendan Bradley from Video Game.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about the rapper.
Who again did some stuff.
Yeah.
So that was another thing on it. Like, there was a TV or. So this is like later on when YouTube sort of started to mature a little bit, and there was a TV show that was a little bit set like The Office, and it was done by sort of like-minded people who were into video games. They did a whole Nintendo-based thing called Video Game Reunion. Brandon was Mega Man in it.
Mega Man, yeah.
So they did some shout-outs and stuff, and that's where we started intertwining with other people. Eliza Doolittle was cool to have on.
Yeah. She was shy. That's what I remember about Eliza.
And she's young though, wasn't she?
Yeah. And that was at the start of hers. But yeah, going back to your favourite, Goldie Looking Chain.
And then one of them had a stroke, just like.
Oh, I don't know.
It was like 2 days before, not 2 days maybe, but it was like, they say it in the interview, like, one of them had a stroke, and all laughing at him.
But yeah, they were definitely, and again, it just, as an interviewer, makes your life so much easier if they just take over. Not completely take over, like, as in...
But again, they're the sort of guys that get it, aren't they? Because they're there to have a laugh. And at the end of the day, they're professional musicians. But they coin their whole thing on a little bit of parody.
Yeah.
But they understand that it's their personality as well as the music that kind of makes them. Because if you were to sort of in that bar area we were in before we did the interview, I mean, they stand out like sore thumbs, don't they? Because of how outrageous that they are. And it's an act they put on. As soon as you go backstage, you just turn into a normal sort of, maybe that's a secret that we should give away.
No, like that all the time, honestly. But yeah, just talking about that. So that was at Ozfest, which doesn't go anymore, unfortunately. I think it ran for like 2 seasons in a place called Oswestry Street, which is Oswestry Street. I don't know why I said that. But yeah, so that was kind of like a festival, like a bit of a V festival for the weekend, where you could go camping, glamping, and all that sort of stuff. So we were their official kind of crew there to interview people backstage. So we got Goldie Looking Chain, an example who we mentioned previously, who was a bit of a challenge, but do you know what? He was all right. You know?
I think he came over afterwards. Yeah. I wasn't meaning to be
I think we interrupt him in the middle of a football game.
Yeah, he was trying to watch something. And then was he not like jumping in a helicopter or something and going and doing another show or something? Because I think it was Wiley on or somebody like that as well, like that we completely missed because he did jump in a helicopter, like literally got off stage.
He literally turned up, did his gig and left, and there was like no kind of backstage or anything. But so example was an interesting one, just because I've never had someone kind of challenged me in that way. He wasn't directly rude or anything like that, but like I say, he was kind of like as if to go, oh, well done.
I think probably though, like, and like if you probably go through like 100 of them type of things, like, can I interview for 5 minutes, and people probably ask the same like 3 or 4 sort of bog standard cut and paste questions, then it probably does get a bit fucking boring, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
And that's one thing that I always tried to do when I was interviewing, because I know, like, because I watch interviews and I get bored with hearing the same stories over and over again and hearing the same questions. And that's one thing that I always tried to do when I was interviewing, is to kind of go outside of that box, and I'd make sure that I'd do, like, so Anna Free, for example, found out she got a weird finger. That's a conversation piece. I'm not in,
shine white, big black dildo.
That was them, not me. But yeah, and so I'd always make sure that whoever I was interviewing, I would have that information. So again, Fozzy, I found out that Rich married his wife in Cheshire, which is local to us. So again, it was a great conversation point. And I think he was shocked that I knew that and that I brought that up in the interview, and I wasn't just asking Chris Jericho about wrestling. Do you know what I mean? So I always tried to make sure that, so if I was put in that position, like I was, I'd have something to fire back and say, well, actually, let's talk about this instead. So that one, I think there was Goldie Looking Chain, and there was there was a boy band who the singer was Roman Kemp, who the boy band no longer kind of exists, but Roman is now really, really successful off the back of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and I think he's a presenter on Heart or Capital. I think it's Capital. But another, radio DJ. But then you look back at it, he's about 12, and he's got like this weird, like he's trying to be his dad, like in the 80s, and he's got like a Hawaiian t-shirt on. But yeah, it's good to see kind of the roots of people like that as well, because you'd have known at the time like where we'd be now, and things like that. So yeah,
it's interesting.
Ozfest was good. I just it's a shame that it's not kind of going anymore as well.